Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the roast. I'm, of course, your host, Sugar Chris of the Red Dress Press YouTube channel. My Canadian brother, Mr. Sim, you know how he is. He's late getting going. He'll show up eventually. He's got to get that Tim Horton in him before he can get moving. But we have a very special guest today, Mr. D.G. Chichester.
Good morning, Chris.
I'm always terrible with names, so I hope I say it right.
It's Chichester. It's Chichester if you're over with the Brits, but I screwed it up here in America and I made it Chichester. So and Dan is fine. So it's a lot easier than the very pretentious DG.
Yeah, like that was one of my problems. I grew up reading a lot, but not watching a lot of things, I guess. So I always read the words and knew the meanings, but never heard them pronounced. So
Oh, sure.
Mispronounced a lot of words.
I have spelled that name and pronounced that name for people my entire life, and I'm sure I will continue to do so. So it's a habit, I think I do with my kid. I say the name and I just automatically pronounce it just so everybody knows. But it's all good.
But I'm actually quite excited for it. As like I was saying to Dan, I was saying, okay, I gotta not fanboy too much here on this stream. I gotta control myself. And I've already warned him about all you in the chat when you all start popping in about how you all are. I already had to unfortunately play that intro and embarrass myself already.
I saw the pole dancing, so I'm already prepared for whatever happens.
Oh yeah, they do art of me like in a dress.
Nice. Wow, that's actually pretty well done.
Yeah, that's Katie. Nerium. She's got a book called Bonds.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
She did that and stuff. Oh my. What is this? Soul, what are you putting a clock for? We're live. Come on now. I wasn't late. Don't you give me no hob.
Oh, so you get a lot of grief. The live aspect of it makes it more interesting.
Oh yeah. Soul is our chat host. He is our chat host. And we are live, aren't we? Yeah, we're live. He usually pops in and has an intro good and ready for us, right. But he's not. But we're going to be talking about Axel's Infernal on Kickstarter, and maybe also talk a little bit about Mr. Chichester's previous works.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to lie, I grew up with some of those books, and I know once Sim comes in and I tell him about some of the books you worked on, he's probably going to be like, "Oh, really?"
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's like some of those. There's 3 of them I know of right off the bat when I was scrolling and looking at your past work. I was like, and got excited over it. And I know a couple of them Sim's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that was so great." Oh, we got Meredith.
Some of them stand out, and some of them are like, I forget that I worked on them sometimes.
Oh, really?
Somebody reminded me of one. It's like, yeah, I did do that. You're right. But
how long have you been doing, comics?
Well, I did comics for pretty much 13, 14 years straight from when I was still in college. So around from about 85 to about 99. So I worked pretty consistently in comics during that time, and then so this is the last century, right? And then comics weren't treating a lot of people so well, me so well, and I probably could have kept my hand in comics to some extent, but my mind was in such a place. I was very black and white, so I said, well, if it's not working out here, I will just completely go somewhere else. And I was lucky enough to get involved in a lot of advertising work, so writing, creative directing, which is a lot like editing, which I had also done in comics. And so I was a writer and a creative director and some other things in advertising on staff at different companies for about the last 20 odd years. And then around middle of 2020 or end of 2020, like a lot of people, the world kind of got more turned upside down beyond COVID. I got laid off. And while I was looking for something new, I kind of got lucky enough and just decided to start freelancing. So I've been freelancing in marketing and advertising. So I continue to write things like websites and advertisements and TV spots and videos for different companies, but also some of the comic stuff started to come back. a little bit, like this Axel's Infernal, which we're kickstarting, but there's also a new Daredevil series, short mini series I'm working on that Marvel approached me about doing. So the world takes its twists and turns.
Oh wow, you're even working on a new Daredevil. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it's cool. I've heard because I talked to Steranko. I went to Steel City Con there a while back.
Hmm.
He was there, and man, he was such a he's so talkative, and I spent like the whole con just sitting there listening to him talk about stuff and tell his stories
Right,
and everything.
right.
But he had been in advertising as well. I assume it must pay pretty good. That
Advertising can pay pretty well, and when you go back in the day, as it were, a lot of uh, very classic people had either worked in advertising probably before they got involved in comics, or had done some associated work. Just because, especially for artists, there's a lot of crossover. You can do a layout. A lot of artists went on and did storyboard work for animation and advertising and that type of thing. So, oddly enough, I ended up running into 3 or 4 people who had worked in comics, who had moved into not only advertising, but the same exact very sort of niche area I was doing. For a long time, I was doing healthcare advertising, and which didn't make any sense. Why would you go from throwing people off buildings and and opening Hellraiser boxes and all this stuff, and then suddenly you're treating cancers and these type of things? But it, I think I found out there was a lot of, not similarities, but once you sort of learn how to tell a story really well, um, you can take that skill and you can tell the story really well somewhere else. So fortunately, that's the way I always looked at it, and it worked out. It worked out pretty well for me.
Hmm. But now you're back in the world of comics.
Yeah, yeah. I start going to a show. I got invited to a show in Connecticut called Terrificon about 3 years ago, and I hadn't been to a comic convention in forever, right? So I remember the drive to this place where it's at is about maybe hour and a half, 2 hours for me. And I was probably halfway there, and I was like saying to myself, what am I doing? Like, why why am I going to this thing? I got nothing to show. I got nothing to talk about. They had a table for me, and so I had this doubt, in my head of what's the point. But once I got there, it was a lot of fun. People after they got over the fact that, hey, I thought you were dead. We haven't seen you. We haven't seen you in 20 years. It's great to talk to people who had read my stuff back in the day and just enjoyed the chance, like you were saying, just to talk about things. I had the fact that I had nothing to promote in a way was sort of freeing. I didn't feel like I was, having to kind of carry the day about something or maybe justify my role on whatever. I was just talking to people about the stuff I'd worked on or why they like certain characters. Or in some cases, people didn't even know who I was at all. And we just started chatting, and then it turned into, maybe they found out I did work on something, and then they got a little bit more out of that. So that's sort of been the road back in, which I did not expect. And then I got to reconnect with a lot of people that I had worked with many years ago. And it's a lot different when you see people in person, obviously, than when you just like chat them up on Facebook or something.
Yeah. That's one thing I like about going to those cons is that the social aspect. You get
Sure, totally,
with people.
totally.
You go to them enough, it almost becomes like, oh, I'm going to go meet up with my con family. Almost.
Yeah, it's a community, right?
Yeah.
That is all about that time together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. It's weird. I can see Marinus and Souls in the chat, but it's not saying they're in the chat. It's odd. But yeah. So why did you decide to go? Well, obviously you're working in the big two, but now you're also doing your own little indie book, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, that's like a long, it's a, we talk more about the story, but it's a big grindhouse road story. Hey, there it is. Of the road to hell and back. right? So it's a supernatural thriller. It's about this young woman named Percy Cross, and she gets shanghaied, uh, volunteered to join up with this thing called the Underworld. There she is, Transportation Authority. So she has to be part of this delivery service for not one hell but multiple hells. So every culture's got a hell, right? The Aztecs have a hell, the Mesopotamians have a hell,
Okay.
the Egyptians have a hell. There's the classic hell we think of when we probably think of hell and Dante's Inferno and that sort of thing. But all of them want a slice of Earth, and all of them want their influence on Earth. So they hire this delivery service, this damnation delivery service, to bring things to Earth to up the belief in their different hells. And so she is pushed into being the co-driver on this truck called Smokin' Sammy, which you can sort of see there. And and so the journey to get to this story is not quite hell and back, but it's a it's a long way around. It's something I had conceived with this artist Carl Waller a long time ago, sort of back at that tail end of when I was in comics, and it didn't. A lot of it came together then. There was art. We had written this great proposal, but something happened where we lost touch for a long while. And then about maybe 5 years ago or a little more, we got back in touch with each other. And almost at the exact same moment, we both said, "Hey, do you remember the story about that girl going back and forth to hell?" So to me, that said, this is a story that wants to be told, and if we don't tell it, somebody else is going to do it. So we better actually put this thing into gear, so to speak, and do it. And so we've been working on it in various ways and through various situations to get to this first issue, with many more issues planned after that. You know, this first issue is part of a initial 5-issue story, and then there's more to come in different stories that interrelate with Percy. Percy's always the main character, and her different adventures across hells and across all these different situations that she's going to get involved in, all these really bizarre characters and demons and people and sinners and so forth. So it's pretty wild, we think, in that way, and feels different. And the people we've shared it with have been really positive on it. But when we looked at the whole idea of publishers, and do you pitch it to this publisher and that publisher and so forth, folks were having success with crowdfunding, with Kickstarter, folks we knew. And so we got a lot of good advice on what to do and not to do. And it seemed like it was a good way in to gauge interest and to raise the necessary money to pay back the artists or pay back ourselves, because the book's totally produced. All the art's done, all the lettering's done.
Oh, nice.
It's ready to kind of go and get in people's hands, but we've paid the colorist Wes Wong, to do this wild color. We've paid Pat Brousseau to do this, his very professional lettering, so it's all delivering. We paid a great logo designer, Comic Craft, to come up with what we think is a pretty kicking logo. But that means we're out of pocket on some stuff, and we want to be able to equalize things, and then also pay for the the printing and the shipping, right, and all the things like that. So we're not going overboard, but we're trying to kind of get to a certain number to make sure it all balances out for us.
Yeah.
Make
sure you're properly budgeted.
Yeah, and we've done that, right? We work through, hey, this printer versus that printer, this shipping versus that shipping. I mean, it's a bit of a grind. It's it's not the sort of stuff I think if you're creating something, you want to sit down and make these little spreadsheets and figure this stuff out. But it is part of the process, and then you learn what people are looking for. Things I didn't have here initially in terms of awards or rewards rather, and add-ons. People kind of came back afterwards and said, "Hey, why don't you have this type of thing available? Why don't you, instead of just having original art, which we do, which was kind of random at the start, like take the original art reward and you'll get a random page.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody said I'd like to select a page, so I changed that up and made it a gallery. So now there's like 15, 16 pages, and people have claimed, several of them. But if you like that reward, you can pick the page. We turned certain artwork into stickers and made those add-ons. We added a 2-for-1 special. I sound like I'm working at Walmart now, right? Where
Hey, you
where you could get the original cover by Carl, and then you can get the variant cover by a talented artist named Dean Kotz, and instead of having to buy 2 different rewards, you could buy this one at sort of a reduced cost and get both variant covers. So you figure it out, as you go through it, and people look at it, and you get feedback, and then you just keep pushing it, right? Keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, and that's how you probably came across it at some point. There was a push that sort of got it in front of you, which is great.
Let's see. I got Marinus saying he's in the chat. Good, good. I'm glad people are starting to pop in.
Super.
Everything. And no, Marinus, you might like this book. Got really good art. Great. I love the concept. Like, that's what I like about indie and crowdfunding is it's not just superheroes. It's not just it's so many interesting ideas that are coming. Like, this is such a cool concept. I like it. It looks like a lot of fun. It sounds different,
Yeah, it's fiendish, as I like to say, but it's fun, right? It's got really dark moments, but it doesn't. It's much more Army of Darkness. The fun parts are from Dusk Till Dawn. Without it being totally insane. There's the variant cover by Dean Kotz. So that's one of the main demons, this thing called Necros Terminal, who's sort of like their dispatcher. So he's the one who sort of controls the trucking routes and everything, playing this little fun little puppet game with them there. But it seems like it's a wild concept. And again, we've shared the first issue with a bunch of people, and gotten back some really good response from people that I know, who I also know if they didn't like it, they would have just said, I don't have time for a quote, Dan. So I feel pretty good about that.
Your interior art here, your artist, he's been in the business for a while too, hasn't he? He's done
well. He worked much more in the late 90s, early 2000s in comics, and then Carl Waller's the artist, and then he got very involved in gaming. So he did a lot of stuff for like Shadowrun, TSR, Wizards of the Coast, Magic, those type of things, and some other video games and so forth. More so than comics, but comics is clearly a skill he's got, and so this was a terrific opportunity for him to kind of get back in doing this storytelling, which is
really good.
Yeah, it's really bold. He's got just terrific visuals, and he's working so closely with Wes, the colorist. He had brought Wes in. I didn't know Wes before this, and they really worked hard to establish this much more kind of almost painterly loose look in some ways. It's very bold, it's vibrant, but it's not the, I'm going to say, typical computer over rendered color that you see in a lot of stuff. And they came up with this cool, you can see it really actually well on this page, where when you're in the real world, which we are, often enough, the palette's actually, the color scheme is actually a little bit dialed down. But when they're going into hell, or they're dealing with hell things, is in that top panel, that's when everything really explodes, which is, a little counterintuitive. Usually you think of hell and, everything's grim and dark and, dragged down, but our hells are very colorful.
Yeah, the color work and the art and everything, it reminded me of a book I had gotten a while back, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was called, because I had it, I only had the first issue, and it was basically this this really bad guy. He's like he was on drugs and treated people like crap. But like there was a special agent that gets killed, and he gets the item that he was after. So the
Okay.
people have to recruit him in, and it was wild. But the artwork, this art looks really, man, it looks good. I like it.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think what you said before, is just so true that when you crowdfund, and whether it's Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or some of these newer things, people just can tell stories that are out of the mix of the mainstream, if you will. They can go and totally, they can tell superhero stories if they want, or they can tell very different superhero stories. They can go in directions that just speak to them and that are maybe much more original, which is hopefully what we've done. I think the thing is, you've got to also be now your worst critic at the same time, because you've got nobody else giving you the checks and balances, unless you have a good circle of friends or a good circle of critics or whatever. Because a lot of people will look at stuff and hey, that's really nice, that looks really great, that look, that reads, that's nice you told the story. And you miss things when you're close to stuff, right? You miss, that doesn't make sense, and we went through that with this. We went through sequences where it felt really, hey, this is done, and then we gave it to some other people who we knew would be harsh critics, and they came back with, no, do this and make it, and make it better, because otherwise you're just missing out on this. I was trying to write less for a change. One of my old sins, I think, was I would overwrite stuff, and so I was trying to kind of let Carl's artwork speak for big parts of the story, which it could, and it did. But then the problem with the comic is one of these critics sort of identified, was he said, my eye is moving so fast across the page, right? Because there's nothing on it. There's no dialogue on it. There's no word balloons or anything, no sound effects. You're just letting Carl's story kind of take us through. I'm skipping it. Like, I'm like rushing through this scene too much. So that was something I hadn't really thought about. I was too close to it. And I went back and added in some dialogue and some word balloons, not just to write for the sake of writing, but to kind of bring another layer to the story, which also then slowed it down in the right way so that people could appreciate what was happening in important scenes.
Okay, let me go ahead and get through the chat. I haven't caught up with them. Let's see. Marinus is saying, also got the notification that the Frog book is coming my way after 3 years. Damn. Well, I'm glad you're finally getting.
Whoa, is that a long Kickstarter?
Yeah, that's
wow.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like 3 years late. Yeah.
I think our timing will be better on this.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very
I hope
very certain within a 2.5 year period. No, even quicker,
So says, I thought Chris wanted to catch up on sleep yesterday already. Well, I mean, so when you get an opportunity to have a prestigious gentleman like Mr. Dan here, you got to take it. I did get some sleep yesterday, so don't worry. I actually slept like 12 hours, so I'm good. We got Mo. Hey, Mo. Hail, hail. Let's see. Soul telling Marinus to enjoy his frog book. Let him know what he thinks about the part with Mama. Okay. We got Pedro. Hello, Pedro. If you want a grind, try Sugar's line of work, but he finds shut up, Mo. Gosh dang it.
There you go. You said you'd take grief. It's coming.
I constantly. Oh yeah, Mo's one of the worst ones about giving me hob about everything. Let's see. Marinus says, I think modern colorists need to be careful with their coloring. My main gripe is the buckets full of paint throwing on the screen. Not every page needs to have 20 plus colors on it. This looks
absolutely. That's such a great observation, Darkside. That's something we really looked at hard. And we looked at a lot of comics that are just cranked up to 200. And that's not necessarily a criticism of them, but I think the ability to do this wild color and this rendered color, and because of the computers and such, you can go overboard on it. And we looked at that very carefully and decided to take this approach. which I think hits a good mark for the book and for the storyline. So that's a great thing to notice.
Let's see. Every time DG mentions Dean Cox, Sugar is tempted to book a flight to Australia. Shut up, Mo. He says, "Oh, it's Cots."
It's Cots. It's Cots. It's my bad pronunciation, right. But But book the flight too if you want. That's cool.
Don't encourage him, Dad. Come on. Marinus does say art looks really good. Yes.
Yeah, Carl's done a bang up job. It's wild. It's good storytelling. It's off the hook in terms of just the events, the emotion, the strength of it. And this is, I'm going to say, only issue 1. And it just continues to kind of get more and more wild as we would then go on from here with the next issues, all of which are also written too. And Carl's actually started on number 2 a little bit, but we sort of written through this thing, so we know where it's going. So if people get on board and we get to these these numbers and make this happen, I think we're in a really good track to ultimately tell a really good story over time. In a pretty, hopefully, timely way.
Yeah. When I was scrolling through Kickstarter, because I'll do it once in a while to see if there's anything interesting to reach out to folks about coming on the show, or maybe get something for myself. I seen this, I was like, oh, and I clicked on it. I was like, oh, that art, look at that, And then I read about the pitch there, and I was like, this sounds like a whole lot of fun. Like, oh man, I gotta reach out to this fella. This is a great.
No, I'm so glad you did, and so it worked. Kickstarter worked in our favor in that way. It's that's what you wanted to do.
Mo says, a really bad guy. He was on drugs. He treated people like crap. Sugar, we all know who you're talking about, and I don't appreciate that character. Hey, come on now, Mo. You always talking about Crack Pack. Come on, wow. I wonder if everybody is aware that this is set up 1 hour earlier than the usual. This is set up 1 hour earlier than the usual. What do you mean, Mo? Or Soul? It's 11 a.m., right?
Pretty sure it's 11. Yeah, we're not on daylight savings time.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, how are you? Sir? We haven't seen Aaron in a while. I hope you're doing all right.
Thank you.
He
Thank you, Aaron.
DG, I loved your Midnight Suns Night Stalkers comics when I was a kid. You were awesome.
Thank you. If you like that kind of like big adventure, raw adventure, I mean, I think Night Stalkers was ultimately grimmer than this. Nobody ever smiled at Night Stalkers, as I realized after the fact. So there's a little bit more levity in some of this, but if you like that type of energy, you're going to find a lot of that in this story as well. But thank you very much. That was Night Stalkers was a great time.
Yeah, that was one that I told you there was like 3 things that stood out when I was scrolling through your thing. That was one of them, the Midnight Sun stuff.
Like, yeah, it was
liked
wild.
It as a kid. Sim loved it. I know Sim once if he ever makes it in here.
He's waiting for the very, very dramatic entrance.
Yeah, he's just gonna show up at the end apparently. But if he comes in, he'll probably be like, "Oh, Midnight Sun, yeah." And gosh, when I was scrolling through like Dr. Zero.
Oh yeah, that's a deep cut. Yeah.
Oh man, I had the first couple issues of that as a kid. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I could never find any more because I didn't have a comic shop. I had to go through like flea markets or random.
Gotcha. Yeah. Garage sales, flea markets.
Yeah, so I never found it. And then was it about a year ago? I went to Steel City Con, and this guy had a bunch of graphic novels for sale for like $1 or $2. And they had the Shadowline Saga Critical Mass,
which was like the big mega story we did to wrap everything up. Yeah.
And it had all 7 issues. I was like,
yeah. That was a good find then. Yeah. And you probably got it like at bargain. You probably got like for $1 a piece. So it's good story bargain.
Yeah, I found that Terror Inc. I found it as well.
And Terror Inc. was very twisted. Yep, I love that character, and most people who know it enjoyed him too.
He's got an interesting look. He stands out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like when I see him, I know right away. I'm like, oh, I know who that is.
Right, right. And if he doesn't like his look, he steals the parts of somebody else and gets a better look. So he's a very flexible character. I keep waiting for the action figure. You know, lots of like alternate limbs and stuff, but probably going to keep waiting on that.
What is he talking about? Then again, this show has failed its own schedule for years already. What are you talking about, Soul?
What?
What is he going on about? We started at 11. I'm sorry, YouTube. Oh, YouTube didn't start the show on my side, so I didn't know. Oh,
giving him grief, and now you need to redirect it on YouTube.
Yeah, that was my turn to give you hops. So we've been going for half an hour. He's just been sitting there. Everybody's been talking. He's just probably wondering what in the world they talking about. Marina says, question, will this series also be in the bundled version?
Like, will we bring it all together? Ultimately, that's the idea. So this is the, we're starting with this first issue. Then we would do probably we do 4 more issues after that to finish this first storyline. I'm assuming every time we do a new issue, we're going to be offering, hey, we're doing issue 2. And there's also copies of issue 1 that you could get, to round it out. But that would be our goal, is then to take all 5 issues of this first story and then put them together in a larger collected edition with some extras in there as well. Maybe an extra story, certainly some extra art. Carl's got a ton of artwork that he's been working on that has been sort of dressing up the sides of this, or concept sketches, maybe a little bit more behind the scenes stuff. But that's a little bit ahead of ourselves. We got to get through this. We got to get through this first issue first.
Now, have you been doing what everybody does when they do the crowdfunder, where you keep checking it and you're like, oh man, it's gonna fun, getting nervous about it, or?
I know, honestly, and let's be honest, we're trying to reach 6,500, as I said, and that's to cover cost. That's to cover what we paid the colorist and the designer and the logo designer and the letterer and the shipping and the printing. So that number is not some crazy inflated number. But we're a little under halfway there, and we've got 11 days to go. So if I was hitting refresh on this every 5 minutes, I would probably be making myself super anxious, and I think that's a crazy place to go. So
not a very healthy thing to do.
No, I could see why people would do it. It's like if you invest in stocks, and people are hitting refresh on their stocks every 5 minutes, and oh my God, I was this and now I'm in the basement. So I've been focusing more on putting new stuff together. Like I said, we added in these cool stickers, so now there's sticker add-ons. So I created little ads and put new notices up on here that you could do these add-ons. We changed some of the rewards around, so now you can pick your own original art. Added in the Dean Kotz, said it again, back to Australia, back to as a new offer. So my focus has been more on that, and kind of keeping things moving and updating the people who have been with us and gotten with us. I made a playlist. Here's songs I've been listening to while I was writing it. Here's a video from Carl's studio. He did like a little tour of his studio space, so people could feel like they're a little bit more part of it. And then I'll check it, and then checking it's part of sort of like the daily thing. I'd said at the end of last week, hey, we're not quite to 3, let's get ourselves over 3, because I added in some weird little stretch goals. If everybody gets us to I think 4, everybody gets that Dean Kotz piece as a print, like a little mini poster. If we get to 5,500, then everybody gets a dramatic reading of the script by me. So a live dramatic reading with caffeine and or alcohol involved. So so it might get more interesting as I read it on. But just things like that to kind of make people feel a little bit more of the insider part of it. But we have to get to those those goals and make it happen.
Yeah, the thing about like with these crowdfunders, I've seen like sometimes it can be kind of like cons where there's that community, like people go on like the YouTube with the live streams like this, things like that. Like my friend Irene, She's got a YouTube channel, Reenie Draws and stuff, and that's kind of
Mm,
how it is with her. Like, she does a lot of live streams, stuff like that. So she's always interacting with her audience and stuff like that, and there's like
totally.
almost like that community there. She's doing quite good. She's got a book called Fiendish. She does pretty good with it.
That's great. That's great. I
Um,
think the community part of it is really what is most interesting, and that's sort of what I felt, as we've done this. It's not just, hey, we have a comic book and we want you to buy it, or we have a comic book and oh, you can get a poster and you can get a sticker and you can get all this tchotchke stuff around it. It's not just a buying part of it. I really do feel the people I've talked to, at least, and interacted with, are interested in that community, right? Helping to kind of build this little mini world, and being a real part of it. Now, some of those people I know really well, and they're obviously supporting me as much as anything. But I've run into many people who I don't know and now are interacting with me, saying, I came across this, or this was recommended to me, and now I want to make it happen. So that's that's the whole vibe that I think a crowdfunding thing really makes special.
Marinus says, puts a little emoji, and he says, "Wait, you did Night Stalker?"
Indeed, that was me. That
Uh,
was me. Yes,
oh yeah, yeah.
Exorcist.
Marinus, Google this man. You should see the stuff he's worked on. Yeah, there's so much stuff where I was looking in and after I googled, I said, "Oh my gosh!" Like didn't know you were an editor for Epic, the
I
Epic one.
was. I was one of the primary editors at Epic Comics when Archie Goodwin, uh, had ran that division. So I worked for Archie, and then had a chance to work on a lot of great creator-owned comics, especially because that's what Epic was really known for, is
I
when they were
I
creator-owned.
I didn't know about Epic
Mm-hmm.
until I was an adult and everything until
Yep.
later on, and I always managed to find one digging through like at big flea markets or digging through
Sure.
bins or something like that, and I always managed to find one, and I'm like, yes, I love
Yeah.
the Epic line because, like I said here, it's something different. It's not just like
Totally.
a superhero. It's
Totally.
always something unique and interesting. Even if
That's
it's something I
exactly right.
might not particularly like, at least it was interesting.
Always,
And
always. No, that's so
also,
true. I mean, Epic Illustrated, which was the big, sort of almost heavy metal like magazine,
mhm,
it's an anthology, but the titles alone were maybe too diverse for their own good, because it was hard for Epic as an imprint to have an identity.
and,
But we went from Gru the Wanderer, which was a crazy sort of Conan
mhm,
comedy by Sergio Aragones, who people would know from Mad Magazine, to doing the first English imprints of Mobius's work, or Akira, to martial law, which was a totally wild Judge Dredd, sort of style thing, to
mhm.
Video Jack, which was a really crazy um, cyber spaced out trip by the late Keith Giffen. I mean, there were just some wild original stories being told by creators, that I always used to say there was always something for everybody. Even if I'm not into comics, people would say, and I would find one thing from Epic. Here's Moonshadow, which is this painted, lyrical type of story. You're
Mhm.
gonna love this, and they would, because that was their vibe, or they
Yeah.
were into crazy big alternate adventures, and I'd give them a martial law, and
Mhm.
they would suddenly not be into. They wouldn't be into all comics. It wouldn't be
Yeah,
a
but they'd
wouldn't be
find
a,
their niche.
exactly. It wasn't a gateway drug to
Mhm.
suddenly like every comic, but it would make them, I think, look at a comic story in a different way.
Yeah, I think that's something that people like in a way about manga. With
Totally.
manga and
Yeah.
everything, it's similar. It has all these different ideas. There's always something cool and neat going
Mm-hmm.
on. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's how with manga was. Let me
It's
check the
I
chat.
think, yeah, there's such a wide range, right? There's
Yeah.
something literally for everybody. When you're into that, you're into kind of crazy, uh, deep, twisted horror. There's a Junji Ito story, right? You're into a wild pirate adventure. There's your One Piece. You're into
Mhm.
you're into golfing. I know there's a golfing comic
Yeah.
manga out there. That's the marvelous thing about it. Yeah.
Let's see. We got look at now. So finally, half an hour into the show, my chat host does his intro. He says, "Welcome to the Sunday Roast, where we take a look at a supernatural trucking system and find out if this could be a job opportunity where Sugar gets more sleep." Good morning, Chris, DG, and chat. No, I'll never get more sleep. You got to work that. I got to work that night shift, baby. Overnight.
The Underworld Trucking Authority is always looking for more sinners, I think, to sign up. So
Steel City. That's right. Yeah, it was a shock when Steel City got Jim Steranko down there, and I was like, "What, Steranko?" Because they don't focus on like comic books at all. They're all about like movie celebrities.
Oh, okay. So big pop culture promotion.
Yeah, that's why my brother and all goes. They go for that, like the movie and stuff. I go there to meet like the indie creators,
sure,
like, comic book creators and stuff like that.
Sure.
So when I seen Steranko, I was like, I was like,
I think a lot of shows have certainly trended toward that because it's the easier sell, right? They're in the business of making money and trying to get an audience, and when you say you've got even Jim Steranko, a lot of people go, "Who?"
Yeah.
You say you've got the actress who played a character on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We got an actor, we got Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek, or something like that. People light up, even if they're not a big fan. They're kind of, or wrestlers. Wrestlers are huge at shows, right? We've got Triple H, we've got whatever, and so they trend in that direction, and then they get their big photo opportunities, the big VIP experiences. I totally understand it, but there are certain shows I think that focus more on comics, and even ones I've been to this year. I've been to several beyond that one I mentioned in Connecticut, Terrificon, which is very focused on comics, even though they have a lot of celebrities. The guy who runs it, Mitch Halleck, is a huge comics fan. And but I've been to several GalaxyCon shows around the country this year. They invited me to one in Richmond and one in Austin in September, and I'm going to Columbus in December, Columbus, Ohio. And they have a lot of celebrities, but they've also been really super courteous and kind to the comics people. I mean, there's a big section if they're treating me well, and I'm sort of a little bit of a nostalgia item in some ways, then they're clearly treating the people who are more current, and it's a good range. I see people who are more independent and people who are on mainstream properties. So I think that's also what attendees to the shows should let the shows know. What do they want to see? Who do they want to see? And they'll respond to that.
Actually, I might have to go check out now how far away Columbus is from where I live. Might have to go visit.
Hit that Google Maps.
Yeah, because I just looked it up. I'm actually on vacation that.
Oh, are you?
Weekend. Yeah,
right at the beginning of December. Mm-hmm.
I start my vacation on the 2nd, I think, in December. So I could run down there maybe. Let me see here. Let me see what people are saying. Mo says, same thing happened to me. I was here when the show started, but didn't start for about 15 minutes. What? Oh, man. Maybe that was the problem. Because it said there was 0 people watching for a while there. And I was like, what in the world? So I don't know what's going on with it. Must be YouTube acting up, I guess. Yeah, it says it was stuck on show is starting in 2 minutes.
When in doubt, blame Google. When in doubt, blame YouTube.
And to make matters worse, I was listening up in another tab because I thought the intro music would alarm me time, but that's weird. What's this? Tchotchke is a spelling bee final boss.
Yeah, that's the one to throw people off. Totally.
Is God along with Kurt?
Yeah.
Is Marinus.
Is that how you condense Keith Giffen and just Kiffin? It's just that's like, he becomes a one-word entity.
Oh gosh, here we go. Soul says that's why manga gets the nice shelf at Chris's house. Here we go.
it's also what people respond to, right? Like you said, there's something for everybody. So why not?
I I have a built-in bookshelf there in the other room. It's built into my wall and stuff. And it's a nice sized bookshelf, but I have so much comics that it all wouldn't fit on that shelf, those shelving. So I put my manga in there,
Yep.
and my comics are in long boxes or random places because I need to get me some bookshelves and stuff. And ever since I've heard, oh, he puts manga on the fancy bookshelf, but he leaves the comics just laying on the floor.
Uh-oh.
They do no respect, just constant hob I catch.
Well, manga gets the nice, bindings and stuff. So
Meredith says he just got his Monster Slayer manga, Volume 4 and Volume 5. He loves it. Awesome. Let's see. Sugar fancies himself the Jim Jones of manga.
So every issue comes with Kool-Aid.
Mo hates manga. He hates anime and manga. So you start talking about it, he gets all worked up. Sugar keeps his extra special mangas under his pillow. Oh Lord. But I never played the trailer, which is probably a good thing since apparently it was acting up for the first while of the show.
Oh yeah. So yeah, play the trailer.
We'll
We'll play well over this and see how it goes. People can hear it and see it.
Here's what I know.
Looks like it stopped there for a second.
Damn it.
I don't know how that played, Chris. That looked like it froze up at the beginning for me.
I just noticed, I was like, wait, why is nothing moving? Oh man, I'm apparently having some connectivity issues.
Yeah, it kind of froze for a second, and then it kicked us out.
Oh gosh, dang it! Yeah, Chris in the trailer frozen saying, yeah, it popped up like right after I started playing the trailer. That little thing that says like your connectivity things is problem. Yeah, well, I'll play it again.
All right. See how it does it for this system.
Here's what I know.
There we go.
When you've lost your way, it's easy to lie about the hard truths. My name is Percy Cross, and I've done some sinful things. I'd like to think they were for the right reasons. But the way to hell is paved with good intentions. So if you're going to drive that road, you better be damn sure you pick a good ride.
Look at that. I like it. It was that's a nice trailer, nice, short and simple, and the voice actress did a good job there.
Didn't she? Didn't she? I was like, I found her on Upwork. It's one of those sites you can find people doing like side hustles and such. And I was really, really pleased with her. She was a woman from Vermont, and I loved her tone. I loved working with her. I said if we get to do more of these issues, I'd probably do more of those trailers in that style, and she could become almost the voice of that character. I really liked what she carried through. But yeah, I like the idea of that movie trailer feel to it, just because I love movies so much as well. And if people want to see a slightly cleaner version of this or all of this, the URL is right there below my name. bit.ly/Axel's Infernal will take you right to this Kickstarter page.
Yeah, Soul's been posting the link for the Kickstarter there in the chat.
There we go. Boom. Thank you.
Read it. Press play, Chris. This is great in a nutshell. Here's what I know. Finally.
Ouch. Ouch.
Do it again. That was great, Chris. Gosh dang it. Gray Wolf, hello, sir. Glad to see you. We're talking to Mr. DG Chichester about Axel's Infernal over there on Kickstarter. I think it's a really good looking book. I'm going to be back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see what you said. We're doing it live.
And when you do it live, there's always something interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's why I watch live streams. I watch live streams for, because you never know what's going to happen. And also you get to talk with interact with everybody. Oh, it's a trailer. Cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
It was a nice trailer. It was, I'm not a fan of the Kickstarter trailers where it's like the person just sitting there talking to and just explaining all the budget, and it goes on for like 10 minutes. And
Right. Yeah, I thought about doing that a little bit, or maybe doing a follow-up on it in that way, but I figured I've made my point. Let's see what people think. But who knows?
I like something like this. It's shorter. It shows some pages, gives me the pitch, gets me excited for the book.
Yeah, and then there's plenty below that to fill in the gaps, right? We talk about where it came from. We talk about what you can get out of it. It's all the details are there. So, but maybe people have a better result with the other types of trailers. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Kickstarter is the Kickstarter audience is a very interesting one. They want like a certain thing. Like I know, like I've learned in my years doing this that like if you have a booby cover, that seems to definitely boost your sales.
And she has boobies, and we could certainly have gone down that road. I looked at so many, trying to learn what to do. I looked at so many projects, and I got, my head was just bursting with not ideas but with confusion, because there were 50 variant covers for like one comic, with 35 of those being half naked, all naked, just, and I got no problem with nakedness, but it's like, it's who's buying all these variant covers? And maybe they are, maybe people are doing it. Maybe we should have gone that route, but we didn't. And we stayed true to the book for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what's best for business, but like, I don't know. I'm just somebody who just wants a cool book and wants to read it.
Yeah, right. Totally.
But for me, I'm not really, the whole naked covers don't really interest me.
Not safe for work. Really not safe for work. Yeah. Not safe for anything. I just don't know where some of them were going to strange places very quickly.
Let's see. Congratulations! It played all the way through. Sugar's pioneering. Uncanny and scary for Chris. Maybe it's his AI twin. Oh, watch out, Pedro.
AI is taking over everything. There you go.
See, that's what they want to do. They just want to embarrass me in front of folks. Let's see. Mo says I call those the NPR audition trailers. Oh, where there's
where somebody's just talking to the screen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to today's episode of it's to Masterpiece Comics.
But yeah, look at that art. I like that art. That's nice.
It's also crazy. It's really. You just did a
Stay for Christmas, Mom. They're saying that because I always take the books I get from crowdfunding in the mail, and I'll take them over and show my mom, like, oh hey, I got such and such's book came in, and here it is, and stuff, and she always gets a kick out of it. I showed her I showed you that Katie.
Yeah.
Or Katie drew that, and I showed it to Mom and stuff, and she got a kick out of it and thought it was funny.
Right.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Moms are strange creatures. When I was doing comics, regularly, like for that 13, 15 years I was telling you about, I don't think my mother showed. I mean, she was always pleased with what I was doing, but she showed no interest in it, like that I would ever really demonstrate. But like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm doing this new Daredevil series, this limited series called Daredevil Black Armor, which starts coming out the day before Thanksgiving, and she is so excited about this. Like this, we're going to take this woman to her first comic book store the day before Thanksgiving. We're going to video like her entering the store and actually looking for this book because she is unnaturally excited about it for whatever reason, which is so fun for me. But I guess you have to be in the right place at the right time.
That makes me curious. The black armor, that's that cool black and red armor, right?
Yes, that was the armor that was introduced, or the suit that was introduced in this Fall from Grace storyline, which is a big story from 95, 97, something like that. And then when I got kicked off the book, Marvel subsequently kind of destroyed the costume. They did a story where they literally destroyed the costume, and except for maybe some video game levels and a couple of trading cards, it's never come back. It's never been used again. And so when they reached out to me to do this series, that was the first thing they said, "Hey, we're really thinking of doing a story with that costume." And I laughed and I said, "Well, geez, nobody seemed to love it in the day. You guys destroyed it, or somebody destroyed it, and,
wiped it out.
Wiped it out." So I thought that was pretty amusing. But we found a great story and a great artist, a guy named Netho Diaz, who is just doing not Kickstarter artwork, but kick-ass artwork. And I think it's going to be I know it's a lot of fun. I mean, we're into the third issue on that right now, and we'll be wrapping up the fourth pretty soon. So that is something else, for folks to check out. But that one's absolutely coming out November 22nd. So
now I'm pretty sure I had the issue where he got the made. I think he made it. The armor
made it. Yeah, he made the costume. Right.
Yeah,
right.
I remember the panels where he's going to like these corporations where they're using like I think spider silk to create.
Yeah, man, you are on top of it, dude. Yes, yes.
I remember. I used to read my comics till the covers fell off.
He was going to companies that were using what was called biomimetic technology. So fabrics and materials that were based on the strongest things in nature. So like spider weaves and certain types of shell matrices and that sort of thing. So
I remember he gets shot, I think, and it protects him.
Yeah, he gets the reason he goes to do it is because we had him fighting such top level villains, and he was just getting the shit kicked out of him, and his regular costume was getting ruined or did get ruined, and he just basically said, if I've got to go through all this, I need something more. And so we had him design this outfit, and Scott McDaniel, who's the artist, designed a really wild. He did a whole bunch of wild designs, but that was the one we picked, and so it ran through several stories. But there were a lot of people at that point who didn't like it. They were like, it's Power Rangers. Daredevil shouldn't have to need armor. He's too fast. He's got his super senses. He'll sense anything coming. He needs no protection, which I thought was nonsense. I mean, obviously the guy's always getting, knocked around, right, even with all his abilities. And that's part of his suffering. But now people who I think enjoyed the costume when they read it the first time, or there's a pretty kick-ass toy from Hasbro that makes the outfit look awesome. It seems like it's come around. People seem pretty jazzed about it and excited. So we'll see.
I thought it was my favorite one outside. The only two, it ties for my favorite with the original yellow one. I like the yellow one, and I like the red and black one. Right there. I thought it was cool. I liked how he went and got the spider silk and everything.
Yeah.
And it helped protect him. Because for me, it made sense. I was like, well, yeah, he's just a normal guy, but he has those radar powers, sure, and he's really agile, but he's still just a normal guy. He can get shot. So
yeah.
Protection. Like,
so there's some bad news that can happen. So we worked it out well, and like I said, the story's stories coming out very soon. So I'm really interested to see what people think. And nowadays, I know I'll hear the minute that they get it in their hands what they think. I'll check my email and check Twitter and just see see what it says very fast. Make my day or ruin my day. We'll see.
Yeah, I might have to keep my eyes open for that now, so I can get that one too. See how it turned out. I did like that suit, but I'm definitely gonna be getting this Axel's Infernal. This is exciting.
Yeah, I am excited about this. I'm excited about both of them, for different reasons. They're totally different comics. Obviously, one is very inner city Marvel Universe adventure and known character. This is totally original characters and original situation. But if you enjoy one, you're going to enjoy the other. I mean, my same style, my same sort of a sense of adventure, intense situations. I think fun dialogue, fun writing is part of it, and I think they both have extremely dynamic artists. I've always been really lucky with the artists I work with. Writers can, they can live or die on the artists that they work with, and I've had really good partners who can help me tell a story and encourage me to tell it better. And go to different places, which both of these guys have done. Because when you see something like this, I mean, you see this, these visuals. It encourages you, right, that the story can move in the right direction, and that you can take it to different places when you get that first chance to look at a page. That big image that is up top as part of the movie trailer, as part of the book trailer, which is like that big view of like many hells across that space and time. When I first saw that, that's like a critical moment of this first issue. That really just like tripped the wire of, wow, we're really onto something here. Those are the moments you really understand that you are in the same world, and it's a great world that you want to share with people.
Let me see what everybody in the chat's saying here. Sugar, when you showed Katie's piece to DG, did you explain about your iconic 3 whiskey chest? No. You want me to explain any of this nonsense? Back the book, and then I'll do it.
Oh, nice. I'm going to add that as a special add-on. Like, we'll.
Well, that's what I've told him. I told him if we get backers during the streams, then I'll tell embarrassing stories or sing a song.
Nice.
Whatever.
Thank you for going out on that limb, man.
I sacrifice my dignity for
the sake of your guests and their book. That is huge. That is big. I knew I made the right decision coming on.
Says the best part is that you show your drawn in perk results where you get killed in the book tour. Oh yeah. I've been drawn into a lot of crowdfunding books because I'll buy the drawn in tiers, and I usually buy them where they get me killed in the book.
Okay, good. Victims. Like that's a nice one.
I'm like, well, that's all. I just think that's fun.
Yeah.
And then when I get them and stuff, I'll go show mom.
I tried to add that as a reward tier to this, but Carl just got really nervous. He just says he doesn't think he's good at doing likenesses of people, so he wasn't happy about that one. So we left it out. I tried to convince him that he could definitely nail it, but you have to always give deference to what the artist style is, right? What they're into, what they're not into. If you push against it too hard, you're just going to get bad results. If somebody hates westerns,
the quality would suffer.
Yeah, they don't want to do it, right? You don't write a western for somebody who hates drawing horses or something like that. Mm-hmm. You gotta find out what they're into.
Let's see. Past Master Dan, hey sir, how are you doing? He says, "Happy birthday, Mo." Shigima, my doge. Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Got birthdays today.
It was your birthday, Mo. Says, "Hail, Pasta Master." He says,
"No,
my birthday is August 6th. Oh, whoa, what? Well, why is Past Master Dan wishing you a happy birthday? Lordy. Fabrics and material. Now you're getting Sugar excited. Oh, come on. Let's see. My wife has weed radar. I light up. She calls anywho hail. What has weed radar? I light up. She calls. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, as long as you're enjoying yourself, Dan.
Right, right. Does she want some, or she wants to tell you to stop? That's the question. You know, it's like
Yeah.
when the weed radar goes off, what does it mean?
Wait a minute, that guy got a Charlie Brown shirt?
He does, yeah. He's definitely got a Charlie Brown look to him. He is not Charlie Brown. There's no copyright infringement, but he's definitely rocking a little bit of a Charlie stripe there. I don't know why. I don't think Carl had an answer for that, but clearly he's working out some issues through this.
How many pages is this book gonna be?
This issue will be 24 pages, so it'll be 22 pages of the story, and then it's a 1-page sort of little extra bonus story element of her type of the journal that she keeps while she's on the road, and then it's going to be 1 page of what comes next. So we've got some like previews of the next set of art and things. So the whole thing will be 24 pages in total, plus the covers. The covers have got some, wild art, some aspects of which we're seeing here. And then if people want to be on the covers, there's producer credits, things like that. They can sign up for that. And as you're sort of seeing here, there's lots of different, little rewards. You want like a poster. I love that shot. That if you go down a little bit, that little mini poster, that's a different, shot of Percy and the truck and Necros the demon.
Yeah.
That's a wild, fun one.
Yeah. Do you have like a bigger piece?
No, but I should, right? Like that's what I will include after today. That's what I mean. Why you learn while you go along. And I should have a bigger preview piece of that, because that's a pretty wild little shot.
Looks good.
You can get autographed copies of it. If you have a comic store owner or a comic book shop, there's a retailer reward where a store can order like 10 copies at a discount. So we're covering a lot of things. There you can get the mini print, you can get a sticker, you can get the comic, you get the special, the digital edition, like all for one, price that combines things. And again, it's not about the price point, but trying to give a wide range of things for people to get into this world.
Now, I did see ships to only U.S. So our international folks don't have the option then?
Yeah, not right now. I was talked out of the international shipping early on by some people who've done a few of these, and they said when you start dealing with international shipping, and it's true because I did look into it a little bit, you run into all different packaging and rates and costs. And what I wanted to do was make this simple for myself, frankly, and for people. So I want to kind of calculate one cost for shipping, because shipping is included with all these things. You're not going to like say, oh, that's a great price to back it, and then you're going to be hit with additional shipping charges, right? So it's all factored in. And the international shipping started to kind of add up, and it obviously closes the the market a little bit for folks, which I apologize for, but I had to make a decision and did it for my sanity, and I didn't want to do something to screw people up. I didn't want to like suddenly find out that it was going to be so expensive and hard to ship to such and such a country that it was going to delay things.
Yeah, that seems to be with the shipping and how ridiculous it is. That does seem to be a problem for these crowdfunders with international.
Yeah,
I know some people use what do they call them? Like I think Critical Blast. He's one. They're like fulfillment services.
Yeah, and they can save you a little bit of money, but you're still going to get different things for different countries. I mean, it's ridiculous. In a way, I think there's something called media mail, which lets you ship most books and magazines and such relatively cheaply, unless it's a comic book. And comic books, to ship this comic in a good material with a backing board and a bag to protect it for people, just alone is almost $6. Which is crazy, but that I have to that's the thing I have to factor in.
Yeah.
When you put it all together, which I wish I could save people more money and hassle, and maybe I can like shave a little bit off that with some of those fulfillment places we're looking at, but it's still going to be more than I would like.
We got what's that right? Of course, Soul says international backers can still go for the digital option. That is true.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great point, and again, learning this as I go along, I think I can update that description to even say that.
Let's see. We got people saying, what's everybody saying? Suga is the son of Charlie Brown and the little red-haired girl.
Is that what happened?
Oh, Lord. Past Master Dan is over there enjoying himself. That's good. Good to hear. Apparently, Past Master Dan was hot for Sally Strawberry. Pretty sure he can convert. Okay. I don't even know what they're going on about now.
Yeah. If this moves into My Little Pony territory, we may need to cut this
Yeah,
off.
yeah, we might have to end this stream. It's getting too bad in the chat. I'll have to cut it out.
For a Sunday afternoon now.
It'd be too much even for a stream about hell and sinners.
Exactly. There are limits. On. We haven't identified that particular hell yet.
So you get original sketches? Oh, nice.
Yeah, Carl, I can't remember how many there are. I think it's like 20, 25 or something like that. But he's done a ton of them, different characters, and nice original artwork signed by Carl, comes with a comic as well. So, that's a great way to kind of get a piece of the book and a piece of Carl's talent.
Yeah, I like sketch cards and things like that because it offers something more affordable if you want original art rather than having to pay hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars
right.
for a piece. I like little sketch cards because not all of us got that money, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that's like a 7x10 piece, something around there. So it's not like a tiny thing. And it's so it's a nice sized piece of art, as is the mini prints and such.
Thank you, Soul. Past Special Dan says art has a Carl O'Rowe vibe. Oh, okay. Oh gosh, I still haven't read that book yet. Let me see. As a business expense, you can write a percentage off, says Past Master Dan. Okay. Sally.
I mean, me, I can write it off, or people who buy it can write it off.
I guess I think I don't know which one he's talking about. Probably both. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, possibly I could.
Sure, you're doing this
as part of my YouTube channel.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I talked one time to my tax people about it, and they said I would have to be spending like thousands and thousands of dollars to go up to that next. To be able to write it off
to next level things. Yeah.
I was like, oh well, never mind that.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes you don't want to get to that point, but maybe you get in the habit of doing it, and then when you hit that point, then you're all ready for how to handle it.
Then we got the retailer pack. See?
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. If you're a retailer, you can get 10 copies of the comic. I think autographed. By us, by both of us, to feature in the store.
Yeah, that could be a good deal for a store. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about stores having hard times and stuff, and that does make me wonder. Like, are stores are they willing to go for something like this? Or are they stuck in their ways when it comes to like, well, we only want to get like say Marvel or
right.
That.
I think it's again, I've been out of the particulars of the business for a while, but what I've picked up on, I think, are a couple of things. I think stores are open to it. that's why I picked the idea up from other comics, and it seemed like it did okay on some other projects. But stores are definitely under pressure of having to deal with a lot more complicated ordering at the very least. While before there was like a monopoly from ordering everything from maybe one distributor like Diamond, now they're juggling multiple distributors, right? So they have to do a lot more hassle with the ordering, and then it sort of cuts into their what's their best day of the week, right? Before it was always Comics Tuesday or Comics Wednesday because everything would come in on that particular day. So I think there's a hassle aspect that adds to what's on the shelves and how many decisions you have to make as a retailer. What are you going to put your money toward? Are you going to put your money toward 6 different books that might appeal to 6 different people? Or are you going to put your money on one book with 6 variant covers, right? And then I've got to order 100 of something to get that 5 variant covers, or very hassly decisions to kind of make. So I could definitely understand why the things are challenging.
Yeah, it does. Like, gosh, that's what irritates me. That whole like, oh, you got to buy so many of this to get this one variant.
Right. That's the collector, rarity mentality, which drives maybe desire, but could also quickly become something dangerous to undermine sales. I mean, I saw that in the 90s, when I worked most extensively, and we did a ton of, not we, but the publishers did a ton of specialty covers, specialty events. So and so dies. Here's a scratch and sniff cover. Here's a glow in the dark thing. Here's this, and it worked for a while because everybody thought, oh, it's rare, I'm going to collect it. And then what happens is everybody wakes up on the same day and says, well, if you got 100 of those and I've got 100 of those and Mo's got 100 of those, and then guess what? Then they're worth nothing. There's no rarity, and everybody walked away. And when they all walked away, then those stores that were featuring those, those had to close. And when the stores close, then there's less opportunity for titles, and publishers go out of business, and people have a harder time finding work creating comics. So hopefully that's not a situation anything gets into again. I think comics are more vibrant than ever. When I walk into a good comic shop, or I look on Kickstarter, or I even look on, I've got a library app connects to my local library, and we can get like all these digital comics for like a short lending period.
Oh,
there's so cool. Many crazy, awesome, different comics. It seems like there's more comics being told in a really good, different way than ever before, as opposed to, oh, everybody's just trying to do their version of Wolverine, or everybody's just trying to do their version of the X-Men, or something like that.
Yeah, that was like, my brother showed me pictures just the other day. It was a place called, what was it called? Big Lick Comics.
Okay, all right.
Apparently it's a comic shop down near his house where he's living now, and it looks pretty cool. It's a pretty hefty sized store. It's got all these, and it's just comics everywhere. I was like, oh man, that looks so cool. And
yeah,
a bunch of, and he don't care about the comics, but like they got like busts and props and all that.
Sure. Yeah.
Look good on your shelves.
Cool high end stuff, for your shelves.
And that's what grabbed his attention, of course. So he's like, oh yeah, and he was taking pictures of that, tell me about it. And I was like, that's really nice.
That's awesome.
A really nice store. But like there's one store, comic shop, about half hour away from here, 45 minutes from my house. But it's a little one, and it's pretty much just all like, superhero Marvel DC stuff.
Sure.
I was like, but they did have I did buy a comic off of them because it called to me, because it was called Hillbilly.
Okay.
but no, it was by the guy who made the Goon.
Okay.
Goon comic, and I've always liked that art, and I liked the Goon. I thought it was a cool comic, so I went ahead and grabbed the Hillbilly one too now. I was like, yes, yes, I want to know more about Hillbilly.
Super.
Past Mr. Dan says, as a car guy, that cover would make a Boss shirt decal.
It would.
He says, back piece. Yeah. Soul says, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Follow our guest. Yes. Everybody, go check out his Twitter.
Yep. I refuse to call it X. It's always Twitter to me.
Yeah, it'll always be Twitter to me. Mo says, Sugar was desperate to find the owner of Big Lick Comics on Twitter so he could slide in those DMs. Shut up.
Nice.
Gosh. Come on now. But yeah, I am looking forward to this one. And of course, it says estimated delivery December of 2023. So you're not going to be waiting too long.
Yeah, like I said, the book is done. The art is finished, the lettering's finished, the coloring's finished. It's waiting for me, it's waiting for one little piece of art, which I haven't asked Carl to do yet. But it's a simple piece that's like one of those extended, story pages, which we know exactly what it is and what has to go in there. And then just to finish laying it out in the software, for the publishing layout for the printers. So the only thing that holds it up is potentially some shipping delays. I don't know what the paper supply things are. Those are things that are out of your control. But our goal is to get it put together and out to people with all the rewards and such by that point. We've got the folks lined up to print the stickers. We've got folks lined up to do the mini prints, all that good stuff. It's kind of just waiting to roll. So I don't want to keep people waiting long at all. I think that's there's always a little bit of time necessary to then take it into production, but I feel really confident that we're in a good place to do that for people.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides for me with crowdfunding is how long it takes, to get to you, because then it's like some of the hype has went away.
And the excitement goes down,
Yeah.
right? And then you're a little less like, what is this? And then it shows up 6 months later or 3 years later, and you're like, what is this? Oh, I ordered this. Where it's one with it's in a window, then you're like, oh, cool, it's here. And it feels, a little bit more. And hopefully that's something that we can, stick with and maintain as we, make this happen.
Now, what's this special executive producer thing here?
Well, that's like a bonus producer credit. We again, I try to pick up ideas from things. So there's producers, which are going to be listed at the back of the book. And I think I can't remember how many, you could be in. So it's a chance for you to get basically a nice thank you. And then the executive producer is sort of a bonus thank you. So the bonus thank you, there's only, I believe, 2 of those. They're going to be in the front of the book alongside the main credits, and they get some bonus, other tchotchke items surrounding it.
Okay.
So both are honorary titles. You don't suddenly own the book, or anything like that.
Yeah, you can't start messaging him, going like, I want this changed.
Exactly. You got no control in that way, but you do get a chance to really back us and help us out, and our big thanks is a chance to make sure that you're prominently featured in that way.
Oh, we missed out on that early bird.
Yeah, we had a couple good early birds. Some nice discounts on the comic, and we had a nice extra bonus on the comic and some stickers and so forth. But we only kept that running for, I think we had an original 48-hour special, and then we had a 1 week early bird special. But after a point,
I mean, original art only $200. That ain't bad.
Yeah.
Price.
Yeah, and they're like I said, there's a gallery. You can look at all the different pages. You can select from them, and it's a good range of stuff. But it's all a matter of people finding something that I guess speaks to them. So,
Soul says he got the digital option.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe Soul, maybe down the road he'll be able to get Axel's Inferno into a international market, and you can get the physical one day.
Yeah, I think once we got to that point, if we were to collect them all and everything, then I'll know more about all the particulars on doing this. So I feel much more experienced now, 3 weeks in, So by that point, I'm sure I'd be able to navigate fulfillment or international shipping a little bit more. Now we got a dancing GIF in the corner. So
Yeah, that's the Sugar Rush. That's
all right.
Pale Rider, who's not in here surprisingly, drew that, and he drew some of that art in the intro.
Nice.
He gives me hob. He gives me so much hob, just like Mo makes fun of me, gives me hell. There's a bunch of different stories I have to tell to embarrass myself.
Uh-huh.
One of them is about me in a red dress and things like that. And I had to go to Steel City Con there the other time. I think it was when Steranko was there. I went and had to go in a red dress and stuff, and did it for like charity and everything. Embarrassed myself, and I had to stream it, and it was a whole thing.
Right.
But yeah, he did that. So every time we get a Sugar Rush, I got to put that up in the corner, and stuff like that.
Well, it's all working out fine.
Yeah. So I will be back in this one myself.
Thank you, man.
What was I going to say? I do hope, like, I understand that whole, like, trying to get it to figure it all out and everything.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of folks on that, this stuff is their first campaign, their first time. And I'm always like, well, just keep it simple, play it safe, because I've met a lot of folks who came on. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And they start adding all these like little tchotchkes, and they start adding all these extra bonuses and all these other things. And it's like, well, that all costs money to make and do.
And more to ship and
yeah.
I mean, at one point
they're like, oh no, I'm in the hole. I'm in the negative.
Yeah.
So then they got to take longer to get their stuff made, and then they're late getting out.
Exactly. Everything becomes, it's like dominoes falling over. I mean, we were thinking about doing a big poster at one point. We're doing mini posters, right? But at one point we said, maybe we'll do like a really cool, big poster. And a guy who has been really valuable in his information, like he's been sharing, Graham Nolan, worked on Batman, created Bane, and he's been very successful with his crowdfunding. He does a lot of stuff on Indiegogo, and he said, don't do posters. He said, because what happens is something happens in the shipping, for one poster, you get a little crink in the poster, a little, a box or tube gets damaged or something. And he said the amount of grief he's gotten back
you'll get
from people. And then, it's just one person and it's a mistake, but everybody suddenly people get really riled, and they make it sound like, your whole campaign has been based on a bed of lies. He said it's not worth it. It's not worth doing that type of fulfillment. So, I walked away from that too, just because, all right, this guy's got experience. He's seen the downside of that. And some people get really excited, I think, as you're saying, where, hey, it's going good, and we're going to add this, and we're going to add that. We added a couple of things. We added some stickers, like I said, but those are those are simple within. Yeah. But I didn't go to like, hey, we're going to do a metal cover. We're going to do a a metal print, and it's going to cost me $90 to ship or something like that.
Yeah, I've tried to offer some advice. Like, I've never made one myself, but doing this for all these years, listening to people, and Sim, he's a creator. He's done multiple crowdfunders now.
Right.
Like, we're able to kind of help where we can when people come in and they're new. We're like, hey, just take it simple. Do this, do that, do this. Try and explain stuff to folks, because some people have really burned themselves.
No, but I've gotten some good, you guys have given me some good advice, even as we've just talked, the idea of like featuring that mini print more prominently. And I love that idea of just highlighting, international backers can get on board that digital, reward with no problem. So,
because a lot of my audience is international, I guess, because I'm in the morning and it's
Yep.
So I've got folks from all over the world who will watch and stuff. So, I look for that. Can international get this?
Right.
Because that's part of my audience. I don't want to I don't want to neglect them. Don't want them to forget. Yeah.
No,
Soul,
no, no, no.
like Soul's in Germany. He's
Okay.
in Germany. Dark Side, Marinus, he's in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Sims in Canada.
Okay.
They're all
Right,
over.
so yeah, it's all international, but like, yeah, if you like what you see, the digital options, great. And if you want to help out, I would also just say, share this with anybody who
Mhm.
you think might dig it, who aren't aware of it yet. That's the biggest thing, right? Getting the word out.
Yeah,
So
we got to spread this around, let people know
yeah,
it exists.
right. Yeah.
That's always the hardest part with these crowdfunders is getting eyes on it.
Yeah. And you don't know. I mean, I did I did, and I continue to do I think a big social push, and I got like multiple posts and awareness and blah, blah, blah per day, but you don't know who sees what. And Carl's doing an okay job, from his side. We got featured as a Kickstarter project they love.
Yeah, I've
Like
seen
day
that.
one.
Does that like boost you in like the Kickstarter algorithm or something?
A little bit. Certainly it doesn't hurt. You can list that as a hashtag and then, push people toward that. And I updated a lot of the graphics to represent that or reflect that. I think the things that push you up faster are when you get funded, right? Especially if you're funded very quickly, hey, fund
Yeah.
it in 36 hours or 72 hours.
Yeah, I know like over on Indiegogo, some of the bigger name guys there that do bigger campaigns will set their campaign to like $500.
Yeah.
Something really small just so it'll boost through it and you'll get
Yeah, I thought about that, and I'll be honest, I gave that some serious consideration, and maybe if I could go back and do it over again, I might have considered that. But I was also trying to be like fair
yeah,
to what we've put out and what we're trying to kind of get back. I mean, these are honest, direct costs associated with producing something like this.
yeah, at least you're being very transparent with everything.
Yeah, totally.
To
That's
your
right.
customer. And
Right.
plus there's always that risk, like what if you don't reach the money that you're supposed to reach?
Well, that's it. I mean, I could have put down $500 and then we would have hit $500 pretty easily, maybe the first day or something. Now that would have kicked our algorithm up, I guess. But we potentially could still be well shy of what we actually need and are looking for.
Because I've known people who've done that. They've seen the success of like these like bigger name guys. Like, oh, I'll do that too, and they set it to 500. Then they only raised like $1,000.
Right.
Like, I needed like 5,000, 6,000.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do?
Right. So you're still in the hole, right? And you're making an investment in time and other effort. I mean, if I was to calculate the time I've put into this and creating all these things and spending time promoting it, and, I think probably my hourly rate comes out to 72 cents an hour or something like that. But I mean, but you're doing it because you're trying to get something started. So that's fine. That's any business or any venture you were trying to do. If I was opening a store, right, or something like that, or a different type of business, you put in many, many, many more hours and time than you would working for somebody else. So that's part of what you do. It's part of why I'm saying I'm committed to this, which I am. And hopefully that reflects well with other people. People hopefully sense that from my updates and talking to you and other people I've talked to. I would hope that's coming across, and that people then want to give this a little bit more attention, because there's a lot of great stuff out there. Let's not, you go on Kickstarter and there's some comics that are like, not so much, but there's a lot of good stuff. And so you can only support so many things. So I respect everybody who's put something, into this. They're making a commitment to me, and I want to make a commitment to them.
Let me see who's all in here. He says, Mo says, Sugar was proud to wear the red dress to Steel City, but he regrets the tacky gloves he went.
It's usually the gloves. Yeah.
Oh, shut up, Mo. Dang it. I regret doing it at all. Dang it.
I think the answer is I regret nothing. You know, it's like it's always Sam.
Finally pops in the wrong place. Sim, get in here. What are you doing in the chat? Let's see. Might just be me, but seeing that Shadowrun logo and the creative creds alone makes me happy. Was reading the novels as a teen back in the day. Oh, Shadowrun.
Yeah, Carl. That's Carl's work. You know, he did a lot of work with that, and
yeah, I never got to mess with Shadowrun too much. Yeah, and that was another thing when I went and looked at your your past works. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, Charlemagne, Motorhead.
Oh yeah, man,
those are books that I wanted to get back in the day. I never got them.
You're doing the deep cuts, man. You're getting the awards for that, and that's where I met Carl, was on Motorhead. That's where we really worked together extensively, and then on a few of the other projects for Dark Horse.
Yeah, I remember seeing Motorhead somewhere back when I was young, and the same with as Motorhead and Charlemagne. Charlemagne was as well. I've seen both of those, and I was like, those look cool. But
both were fun projects. Motorhead a little more so. Charlemagne ended kind of weirdly, but Motorhead was fun, and that was part of Dark Horse's whole interconnected universe, you know, of titles that they were trying to make work when everybody was creating a universe of titles.
Yeah. I never got it though. I never could find it after. I think I might have seen it in an ad. I think that's how I seen Motorhead. I think it's like an ad or something. And I was like, man, I want that, and I never got to find it. And
it's got to be a tough find. I've only I mean, I haven't done, as I said, like a lot of shows, but in the last 3 years, as I've done these couple of 3 shows, I think I've only seen one Motorhead somebody brought up to me.
Well, that's like I'm also a big fan of like the 2000 AD.
Yeah, of course.
Like I love Rogue Trooper and the ABC Warriors and stuff.
Yeah,
I would go to Steel City and I'd be like, "Hey, do you have any ABC Warriors or Rogue Trooper or this or that?" And they'd be like, "What? What are you talking about? No, I ain't got no. I don't even know what you're talking about."
Out of their range, right?
Yeah, I just everywhere I look, and these were like comic shop owners. I'm like, how do you not know this? Like you own a comic shop.
And, you know, some people are like this, right? They know and want every comic under the sun. Some are like so narrow and they're just, I'm only ordering Marvels, I'm only ordering DCs, or I'm only ordering mutants, and sometimes that's a business decision, right? You know, sometimes that's I know it sells and this is all I'm going to sell, but sometimes it's also what they're interested in or what they're not interested in that drives them. I remember one store owner, it's the weirdest story, and there was a Marvel book that was coming out and he really hated it. You know, he hated it, the concept, he hated the whole thing.
Wow.
And he was like and he said, I'm going to order it and I'm going to put it on the bottom shelf behind all these other comics. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're who are you hurting? The only person you're hurting is yourself. You've ordered it. You're already paying for it. You know, like if you don't want it at all, don't order it. Maybe he felt he had to order it to get something else, but it was just such a weird negative attitude. It was just anyway.
That's a strange way
enjoy. You know, if you're gonna order the comic, enjoy the comic. I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like
if you're gonna pay for it, like that, go on.
yeah, exactly. You know, so what can you do?
Sugar recently got a poster in origami form and a cover glued to an interior page. Yeah. Yep. I did. Yeah, I got it was Jack Irons. Jack Irons came in and the box was in like bag and board and everything, but the way they did it was weird. They had the poster, instead of like putting it in like folding it up or something and then putting it in like the one of the bag and boards or something with the comic. It was just kind of set out, like unfolded and just setting out behind the stuff. And it was bigger than the like long bag of boards. So when I opened up the bag, the mailer,
right,
and I pulled it out, it was all crumpled up and crunched from being like in that mailer and jumbled around and shoved in. And so the poster was a mess. So it's all crumpled up, and I had to unball it and everything basically. And then the 656 guys, I got their book, and they're pretty good about fulfillment and everything. But they have a cool cover, one of those covers where like how do you say? It's got like a little cutout in it, and then when you open it, like there's something going on, like it's like the person's body, but then when you open the cover, you open it up, and there's like a skeleton behind it or something.
Oh, so like kind of like a little inset cutout type of thing.
Yeah,
right?
kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I went to open it up to show the inset. Well, the first page that was stuck to the cover.
Ah.
So when I opened it, of course, it tore.
It ripped the whole thing, right? Which
like,
probably was a
man.
production thing. The ink hadn't dried, right? Maybe before they bound it together. But
Yeah, I don't fault them, the creators, for that one. That seems more like it would be on whoever made the book.
the
But
printer, yeah. But
I was like, great. Now it's already damaged, and I haven't even. I just got it.
Yeah, but what you were saying about the poster is exactly the thing Graham Nolan was like warning me about. Like they didn't intend probably for that poster to be damaged. Certainly
Right.
didn't. But because of everything you include, right, requires another layer of protection or shipping or something. So it's like pins are cool, right? Those like enamel pins, those are like awesome. But if you include that with the comic just on its own, that's probably going to indent the comic and press into it, leave a mark. So you'd have to like now bubble wrap the pin, and that's more time. And now the packaging shape changes, and it's just weird. Again, dominoes of like things you got to think about to keep yourself sane. I think the more you do, the more you do, the better you'd get at it. I mean, I know people now who are shipping, they've got plush figures, and t-shirts and bottle openers.
Yeah.
And maybe they're, with a cool fulfillment house that like does that for them, or they just know how to do it because now they've done, 5, 10, 20 of these. But for me, I feel like I'm right at the point where I'm figuring this out, and we'll see if I figured it out in the right way or not.
Yeah, you just take it one step at a time.
Yeah. It's like a learning thing. I mean, because everything's not there.
Sim's been cleaning and curing some models, just made 7-inch net print. Yes, that's right. Sim's doing his 3D printing. He's super excited about it. He's been showing off pictures of it and everything. He's got his main character, Nat. He's got like this bullet-shaped thing that it's like, I guess, comes in and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his Nat figure standing there and stuff. It looks nice. He's been doing 3D printing.
Oh, awesome. I love the idea of 3D printing. I did a Daredevil helmet, but it took me a long time to figure out what I was doing. If anybody has any advice, I'm trying to print like a long, like oversized, like samurai sword. But I'm trying to figure out how to slice it in pieces so it will fit on my printer, because my printer's only like so tall. So I got to break it up. Got to break the model up into multiple pieces so it fits, but I can't figure out how to do that in my, in my limited knowledge. So if anyone has experienced that,
Sim might be able to help. Him and Dave there with him. They've been doing a lot of 3D printing stuff.
Yeah,
They might know something there.
Yeah. Tag me on Twitter or whatever if you guys want to share some advice, because I've looked through all these programs and they either keep crashing on me, or I look at it and I'm scratching my head trying to figure out what to do.
Like I've joined a Justice Society of America Facebook group, and I see them always posting like Dr. Fate and stuff helmets.
Oh yeah, there's some awesome helmets and such.
Like, man, that is cool.
yeah, there's some crazy stuff. I inhaled a lot of Bondo trying to figure out how to smooth out this Daredevil helmet. Like, so probably took years off my life, but it was.
Excuse me. Let me see. Yeah. Sugar wouldn't stop asking for the ABC Warriors until the guy at the booth told him how to get this.
That's it. That's a good one.
What is this? Let's see. Let me see. Putting the links. Thank you,
There
Soul.
we go.
All right. Sim says he's been busy cleaning and cooking a 7-inch Nat figure. Might join a few, but I'm in the chat while I work. All right. Well,
All right.
I need to start to wrap this thing up because
Yeah, I was going to say, let's wrap it up, Chris, and I
you've got
really
things you've got to
appreciate the
do.
time. A little bit. I got to go check and see if what we're doing tonight. So let me check in on that. And but this has been great. Appreciate the guys' comments and everybody paying attention. And like you guys, as I said, have given me some good new ideas as we kind of come into the final stretch on things. So I'll definitely be adding those to the mix.
Yeah, I would like to see a better, more bigger.
Yeah. No, it's like that's just like mental block on my part, and
It does look nice from that thumbnail.
Yeah, I can remedy that as soon as we're off here, which I will do.
Oh, one more thing before I start to wrap this up. Do you have add-ons?
There are. If you go to I don't know where are the add-ons. Like, is there an add-on?
I got a pledge or something, and then
yeah, I think when you make a pledge, then you can see there are 4 add-ons. You can get that sticker that you just went past as just a single add-on.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 additional stickers, which are pretty wild, and then there is there's a special version of the PDF which combines the PDF and my script, like the actual written script, for it. So at one point that it was like that is a standalone offer, but if you want to do it as an add-on to something else, you can also add that on. So there's 4 add-ons in total.
All right. Yeah. So, all right, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Yes, thank you. It's been awesome. Yeah, really.
I'm sorry. I probably told you we would go for like an hour. I always get to talking and then I don't pay attention to the time. But I always try to tell people, like, if we go over and you got things you need to do, just send me in the private chat. Let me know. Hey, I need to get going.
No, we're cool. We're cool. This is about. I'm a little talked out right now. I need a little more caffeine, and move on with the day. But thank you again for making the opportunity happen and making it happen so fast. Especially on your time off.
Oh, no problem. Everybody, please do go check out Axel's Infernal. It looks amazing. I'm going to back it. You should too. Thanks everybody in the chat for joining us. Soul, Mo, Sim, everybody. Even if Sim didn't join me on stream, I'll forgive
He was there. He was there.
And,
all right.
And sir, if you ever want to join us again for a future campaign or anything,
will do. Yeah.
For this one, I'd be more than happy to have you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, let's stay in touch and see what happens with this. But absolutely, fully, respectfully appreciate the support. It means a lot.
No problem. And everybody, I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.